Have my
Your necklace?
yeah, I forgot to put it on after I got out of the shower. I don't shower with it. Do you?
No, absolutely not.
Oh,
I think it is waterproof, but I don't want it to get corroded or just stained. And I've heard it, people get it a bit. And I don't know what happens to it exactly, but it doesn't seem
not
like a good.
good.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I actually jumped in the river with it the other day, and I thought, huh,
I'm sure it's
oops.
fine. Well, I do want to tell you. I know we kind of jumped in this conversation, started 30 seconds ago. Hello, everybody. I
Hello,
do want to
everyone.
tell you that when I was wearing it during the retreat last weekend, and
Yep.
I was in a deep state of connection to Pachamama, it I felt the energy that it has, and I'm like, whoa, this thing really works. Because like right now when I'm wearing it, I mean, I don't really feel it.
Sure.
I do feel perhaps a different way slightly than I usually do, but I was in like a deep meditative state, and this thing was like like on my chest, and it was just like, whoa, this thing actually works. It was
Whoa.
so powerful. It was like amazingly powerful, absolutely insane.
And do you think that's just because your awareness and consciousness is a little more heightened?
Yeah, it was much more heightened. My brain slowed down. I was very connected to my heart chakra. I was in a totally different state. We were doing deep work at the Men of Integrity retreat, which I co-host with my partner Michael Tierno, and it was very prominent the way I was feeling. It was just absolutely fantastic.
Wow, that's great news. That's
And
good it's good for news for me as well. Just like a little validation out there.
oh yeah, I mean, I then look on the website of LeilaQ.com, and I looked into the research tab, and they have pictures of the water. Is it the water molecules? I think it's the
Hmm.
water molecules. When
Yeah.
they have the control group, and they put it into the water. They did a collaboration with the Moto Institute, the one with
Yeah. Yeah.
the hidden messages of water. The one that realized through research that water has consciousness and is affected by words of gratitude, words of hate, anger, all that stuff, right? He saw different pictures of water when he did some sort of a what is it, a freezing flash freeze technique. But anyways, they show pictures on the LilaQ website of a control group, and then after putting into the LilaQ water bottle for 10 minutes, and after putting into the LilaQ block for 3 minutes, and you can compare. They have 10 samples, and they look differently, and they have like a summary of the results. And I was sharing this information with the retreat participants, and it's absolutely mind blowing. So that's pretty cool. You can, for whomever is interested in this, you can go to leilaq.com, look at the research or science tab and page, and check it out.
Whoa. Damn, that's awesome. That's
Yeah, the
really cool.
technology absolutely works. It was cool to kind of have an insight into what healers and like more connected beings, energetically feel, and how like they've been validating this technology.
Yeah, no, definitely. Dude, that's awesome. There's one thing I wanted to tell you. I was going to tell you before we started recording. This is totally random, but it popped into my head.
Hmm.
Thaddeus mentioned did you see Primal Hackers comment on maybe it was a couple episodes ago about like stacking all of the organs at once?
Yeah, I did see it. It was the last episode, meaning episode 7 last
Yeah.
week. So, yeah, so you got back to him, and what have you changed in the past week? Hold on, let me close the door here in the room. One sec.
No, you're good.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, yeah. So essentially I started taking so we have 6 different products,
Hmm.
and I basically just put, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on the lids of the bottles, and I'm just taking one different product a day, you know?
Nice.
I am taking the bone a couple of times a week, or like a little more often, because it's got like different types of collagen in it, some peptides, blah blah blah.
Hmm.
So that's the one that I'm rolling with more regularly, and a few of the products have liver in them, so I'm probably getting liver. I don't know, 3 times a week or maybe around there. But dude, since I stopped stacking all those, I haven't had that intense feeling in my stomach anymore.
Beautiful.
It might have been that.
Did you email Hard and Soil too, or no?
Okay, so I did have an email drafted to send to him, but now there's something else I got to add to it, and I wish I had it in front of me right now. But I'm reading this book that Ryan Holiday recommended to Joe Rogan about Genghis Khan and the Mongol army.
Hmm.
My opinion of Genghis Khan has changed quite a bit. He's misunderstood man. He was not nearly as gnarly and bloodthirsty. He did kill a bunch of people, so I'll give him that. But he was a
Eight
better
figures.
man. Probably high seven for sure, low eight. I don't know. I haven't finished it yet.
Hmm.
But the reason that these guys, so these Chinese, like a lot of the Mongols didn't read or write. They were just kind of on the run, handling situations.
Okay.
These Chinese philosophers and scribes documented a lot of the stuff that they did. And one thing that stood out to me was the reason that Genghis Khan's army was able to conquer so many different people was because they were always nomadic and they
Hmm.
ate almost exclusively meat, raw dairy, powdered milk, and organs. And he said it allowed them to outperform all the other armies. They could go a couple of days without eating, and they were still like high energy. They had stronger bones, and he compared them to all the more like sedentary agricultural based like groups in the area. And this is like all over Asia, massive region. But they ate grains and or like more heavily eating grains, ate very little meat. You know, more of an agricultural society, and they had like weaker teeth, weaker bones. They had lower energy. They had to eat all the time to stay energized. Um, so I was like, of course, Saladino needs to know this that Genghis Khan and his army were such badasses because they were essentially carnivore or meat animal based.
Wow. And how long are these stories of Genghis Khan army? What are you really talking about?
Like the like 1200,
1200.
give or take.
I wonder, like, where did they get the information of what was this army eating? Like, is this in
Dude,
some sort?
these Chinese guys were rolling around documenting stuff, like
Wow.
writing stuff down. Yeah, and a lot of the history was like destroyed. And they've recently uncovered these books where they've like really documented all the stuff this guy was doing because they were trying to figure out why he was so great and was able to conquer everyone. And I'm
Wow.
not saying it's just because they were animal based, but these dudes were like they weren't like traditional armies. They were all on horseback. They were all, you know, riding around like total tornadoes that would take these other tribes down. Um, you know, like tens of thousands of people.
So is it was it an army of tens of thousands of people?
Yep. Yeah, his military
Well,
was, I mean, even bigger than that probably. Maybe
wow.
into the six figures, but they would just herd animals with them and have like
Hmm.
big grazing lands. They would do a little bit of hunting, but
Hmm.
yeah, they would raise like cattle and reindeer, I think, or something like that. And eat the meat, eat the organs. They would drink the milk. They would also powder and dry the milk.
How did
And
they do that?
I don't know. I mean, maybe like dehydrate it somehow. I'm not sure, but they
And
talk about powdered milk a lot. Um, like the book is not centered around nutrition. This was one like little paragraph that I was like, holy shit, no
hmm,
wonder why.
so interesting.
But
Look
it
at the
fires
timing.
Saladino up.
That's amazing. Well, I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to hearing what he says about this. So fascinating and
yeah,
timely.
yeah,
So this book is amazing. You're saying?
dude, it's really good. I'm trying to read more stuff that doesn't matter. I mean, not to say that history doesn't matter, but you know, it's not like as productive.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'm reading that right now, and it's really, really good. Like I'm at nighttime, right around like 7:30. I'm like, all right, time for bed. I want to get this book open. I got to see what's going on with Genghis Khan.
And why are you trying to read stuff that is less relevant, let's say, to whatever you're trying to accomplish otherwise?
I don't know. I got to stop trying to be so fucking productive. You know, like it's okay to enjoy life a little bit and just chill out and do things that don't matter. I mean, I've talked to you about this before. It's a struggle for me with everything. Like everything
Mhm.
has to be productive. But
I see what you mean.
yeah, and I think like there's also I've kind of tricked myself into believing that there's productivity in lack of productivity.
Mm.
You
So
know?
you're doing things just to feed your soul in terms of whatever your soul wants to do it in a more playful way.
Yeah, exactly. Like I never really went to many concerts, but in the past like 2 weeks here in Bend, there's shows all the time. So I've been to two concerts and a comedy show, all of which were fantastic, all of which were pretty
Nice.
unproductive. But it was like a really good time, you know. And it's you can kind of turn off a little bit. So it's I think that there is as much value in being turned off and recharging as there is,
Hmm.
you know.
I think what's cool is that you are by doing these activities, such as going to the concert and comedy show, you are actually being productive, but you're not having the framework of being productive. So you're not putting pressure on yourself to do these things for the sake of balancing yourself. You're really doing them for the sake of joy without of you just enjoying life without, as you're saying, without too much importance on what you're doing. Else, just doing it because you're flowing into that activity that is calling yourself to have a good time. But it is productive, I think, in terms of giving you the balance and rest and resting your mind and opening your heart and laughing and chilling, which is important. So I think you are doing all of this now with less pressure on yourself to balance yourself in that way, which is awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think and it feels good.
That's nice. Well, you're crushing it, my man. I'm happy to hear it.
I also give myself like a very like if I know I'm going to do something meaningless in the afternoon or evening, I'll give
Hmm.
myself like, okay, if I can get these three things done in the morning and early afternoon, um, I'll feel good about unplugging. So if I can like check those three or four boxes, um, it makes it a lot easier to not feel like a bum and that I haven't
Sure.
got anything done. I'm like, oh, I got everything done. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go. Turn off and enjoy, and leave my phone at home.
You're like you're treating yourself more easily, more comfortably by knowing that you've checked the boxes that propel your life to the next stage and your family and your security and doing the work that perhaps the world is asking of you. So you're like, all right, this treat is really the evening treat. Let's say feels more at ease and more joyful and more with more presence and awareness because you've checked those boxes and your mission, let's say, to you know help others and take care of business is absolutely complete. That's what it sounds like.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah,
Very cool.
and it forces you to be a little more intentional about it too.
Hmm. Very cool, my man. Happy to hear it. You're growing.
Yeah, something like that. Um, I'm gonna have a kid here in 5 weeks or 4 or 5 weeks, something like that. So
In like a month.
I'm gonna have to learn how to lighten up a little bit, right?
I think you are. I think you have. Everything is happening beautifully and timely for you. You're
Um,
you're stepping into the father role.
I'm working on it. I'd love to hear what you're willing to share about this past weekend. You had the retreat in the southeast, the beautiful state of Georgia.
Absolutely. First, I will start by saying that was as my partner Michael and I are evolving in learning and are gaining more experience. Um, this was our most impactful and I would say successful in terms of helping people transform and support them retreat. So it was absolutely magical. Um, I felt personally, at least Definitely on one day in particular that was one of the best days of my life because I felt very purposeful, useful, um, I would say needed in some ways. Um, I felt great alignment of my skills, gifts, purpose, and what I feel like the world, the universe consciousness has been requesting of me, and especially that day, I felt very much in flow, very confident. It was absolutely a joy and an honor, and also challenging. It was all of it, right? It wasn't just like an easy task that I stepped in, I already know what I'm doing. It's things that those days, this retreat has been a culmination of me doing the work day in day out. Growing by small percentages every day, showing up, living with more integrity with myself, with purpose, with an open mind, an open heart, and all the men that showed up. Uh, day in, day after day. With an open mind, an open heart, courage, um, and humility, and showed vulnerability, and it was just absolutely amazing to see how the men showed up the first day, especially kind of the first 24 hours, and how they left the retreat and how they showed up on the last day. It was 4 nights, almost 4 days. The amount of growth that they've done, and also Michael and I, has been tremendous, absolutely tremendous. We talked about you, as a few of the people in the room know you well, and you were missing, of course, as in every retreat so far. At the same time, I was reassuring myself and the others that, one, you will come to a retreat. You have made a verbal commitment that will come also as a financial commitment very soon, to show up and do the work soon. So I knew that it was perfect timing for you to spend time with your wife in Bend, Oregon, rather than Georgia. Um, I will share that, for example, one of the guys that showed up. So all the men in the room were between 49 to 52 years old, except for yours truly, 35 years old. All of the men except for yours truly, right? So the 49 to 52 divorced once. One of them may be going through a second divorce soon. A few of them are in new, very healthy relationships, which was cool. So, men around the same age that went through similar hardships in terms of relationships, family, divorce on kids, and some of them have or are going through some addictions, whether it's alcohol or um, some painkillers for injuries and surgeries. And there was so much help and synchronicity between the people that were in the room, supporting one another and us supporting them. And yeah, I mean, so I'll give an example. One of the guys, 49 years old, showed up on the first day, a bit chaotic. He was a bit chaotic to begin with in terms of his delivery on the prep work, like filling out the forms and figuring out the logistics, and kind of complaining about it and making excuses. And on the very, the beginning of the second day, so we come in the first night in the evening, and he showed up late, and he was the only one to show up late. And the first day, right, so after that evening, he was really acting chaotically to the point that I called him out, right, that his energy was making me uncomfortable. And I said, look, I'm a 35-year-old man. I have a family. I'm strong enough to take care of myself. And I'm not afraid of you, but you're making me uncomfortable, right? So this was one of the conversations that I've had with him. And he, of course, was put off by this. I mean, you're telling somebody your energy is uncomfortable. I was just kind of all over the place, complaining about, being in a victim mentality about his life, whether it's a father relationship, ex-wife relationships, kid relationships, and kind of just throwing it out there in body language, verbal language, Um, you know, in what other way? It's just like it was uncomfortable to be around him, and kind of not being very considerate of how other people were feeling, or kind of like throwing himself at people with his issues, right? And everybody there is to work on themselves and also to help the group. So called him out, and but nicely, meaning very calmly, and in a and I told him, this is for you, right? I mean, we you showed up in here, and I'm giving this feedback so you can one contain your energy, have so much energy, and make the most of it as somebody who is very energetic, but who has learned over time to contain the energy and bring it you use it in a more calm and collected way. And I was given the example of like a flame, right? There's like the top of the flame of a fire, which is very like chaotic. It's going everywhere, and there's the bottom of the flame, kind of the blue part of the flame that is very steady and just keeps going, right? So they're both energetic, they're both strong, they both keep firing up, but one of them is all over the place, and the other one is kind of more zen and centered. So I've had a conversation with him, and then it slowly helped him to slow down and got his permission. After asking his permission and his, I would say, respect to work with me on an exercise meditation, right? So got him to calm down after a few minutes, and he was able to, I'm kind of jumping in, he was able to channel all of his energy with a sleep mask, right? So like no visual input, sitting down on a chair, putting all of his energy, all of his consciousness, all of his awareness into his stomach and then into his heart. And I suggest, let's, if you can do it for 60 seconds, right, it's fantastic. And it started with it like 5 seconds. I'm like, starting to count when he's not moving anything. He's not moving his hands, he's not moving his neck, he's not smiling, he's not like doing anything, right? So nothing. I want to see all of his energy going into directed into one spot in his body, right? Because it was very much in his mind, very cerebral, trying to fix things in his life and in his close ones' lives with using his mind, right? Like just constantly monkey chatter going on. But yeah, he was able to do that after a few minutes, and he was able to do it for a few minutes. And it was amazing to see a man like this who's been, you know, self-describing as chaotic and not being able to, like repeating patterns of him getting himself into uncomfortable positions, situations of not delivering on certain things, leaving certain jobs, feeling unstable, two relationships that weren't, healthy. Relationships with his kids are not healthy, with his father. So it was a lot, a lot to handle. He's been going through a lot. He's almost 50 years old, and he was able to tame the wolf, with some guidance. He did it. That's a beauty. Like I like calling the work that I'm doing guidance, because I'm not doing the work for somebody else. I'm giving them some guidance on how they can do it themselves, right? And empowering these people to be able to notice where they're at and how they're coming off to society, and how the society perceive that, perhaps. So I'm also I asked them in front of the other men, how do they feel? Do they agree with me? And unanimously other men cited what I was saying. So this, and I told them, this is a gift to you, right? We're giving you a gift of being real with you. We're not, we're giving you a gift by giving you it's like a feedback on how we're feeling your process, how you, this is kind of you processing how you're coming off as a man. This is part of
Well,
the man.
you very rarely get that type of brutal
Very,
honesty too.
very rarely. And there's a craft to deliver this message in a way that can be actually received in a way that is beneficial. I was, in my best performance, I've given plenty of messages to people over the years, and a lot of them were unsuccessful in my delivery because it was harsh before, it was aggressive, it was, kind of like me being impatient, like this is the way it should be, especially when I was younger. You got to work out, you got to stop eating this, and that's it. Like, I don't even want to hear about it. Just go fucking do it, And
Not
this
you,
was,
Yoni.
and it was a very, it was an evolution of how I was able to deliver this message in a confident and, what else we call it, in a confident and direct way, right? And but gentle and strong at the same time. Um, so yeah, that was like an example of one of the things that were accomplished during the second day of the retreat that were fantastic, and he kind of slept over it too, and took some time, and the way he showed up for the rest of the retreat, and also evolved with his calmness, with his integrity, um, of doing the best that he can to do what he wants to do. Right, he's a fantastic, super wise guy, super smart, super fast thinker, super considerate, super hard worker. Um, you know, he takes care of business. He takes care of his family, he took care of his wives. There was a bunch of things that he was resentful about, and then his expectations weren't met with in family relationships mostly. And we put some perspective on it, on his communication in those relationships. He was able to communicate with his current wife, and yeah, make progress even from the retreat. And she was blown away by his language. I remember like some of the things that he shared with us. She's like, "You're saying all the right things. How come? What's going on in there?" Um, yeah. So that's an example of one of the guys that made amazing progress within a few days. Um, Absolutely mind blowing to see people's progress there. And I have other stories, of course.
How does like a chaotic mind like that handle some of the ceremonies? In particular, the second one is what I'm. And I mean, you don't have to go into detail about that now if you don't want to, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, and that every person, chaotic or non-chaotic, every ceremony can be different, right? It's how you never know how one will show up in a ceremony, in what way, right? Of changing their state of consciousness. There are so many factors, but this one, and I think in general, uh, people that have, let's say, issues that have been ongoing for a long time, and they're used to their old patterns. They deal with them with what they know, with the familiar self, with the familiar tools that they have. So he, was doing some sort of escapism, and trying to help others, which is he's a very helpful man, very caring man. He tried to channel his energy outwardly, right? And see what he can do for others to make himself feel good about himself rather than face himself inwardly, direct of his energy, be open to that, examine it. So, and I mean, he was using what he knows how to use, his mind, channeling his energy outwardly, and using movement to express himself and express some of his anger, some of his frustrations, in a very masculine way, right? He called himself a fixer, for example, which is something we men tend to do often, right? So a situation comes about, and let's say in a romantic relationship between masculine and feminine. Feminine, as we know, is nothing wrong about it, right? This is the feminine is more chaotic. The masculine usually is about containing the chaotic energy. This is how the world was began from chaos and some container about it. Creation is usually chaotic. As you're about to become a father, kids usually until 7 years old, they're more chaotic. They're figuring things out. They're full of energy. They don't have the tools yet to contain and direct energy in a more calm uh, and organized way. But anyways, sorry, I keep biting my tongue. Um, what was I going to say about that? I forget where was my train of thought.
Well, just balancing the masculine and feminine.
Yeah,
You're giving
so
an example of like a romantic
so
relationship.
yeah, yeah. So he was in a very masculine, like, I'm going to fix the situation. I'm going to fix others. I'm going to, this is what I do. I don't like to slow down. I like to be up and about. I like to move. I like to express myself. I like to have conversations. I'm like, I said to him in the beginning that a man that is balanced, and any person that is balanced has a good balance of feminine and masculine. It doesn't mean that they're 50% masculine, 50% feminine, but they do have both sides in a healthy manner, right? There can be 80% masculine, 20% feminine. But when one is going only towards one of these aspects of themselves and disregarding the other side, they're saying, like, I don't really need this. I don't even want to look into this. There are usually some imbalances that are making that person suffer and making the people in their life suffer. So I was focusing with him on feminine energy, on slowing down, nurturing, on caring, on being more gentle. And this is the focus, for me, was to work with this man, and with another man, it was the complete opposite. He was more feminine, was just a bit more afraid, less confident. Um, he needed some more fiery energy. He was a bit more emotional, right? Very emotional. Um, and also he was chaotic in a way that he was not being able to control his emotions, which was bringing him some discomfort, more in a childish way. And with him, it was more about kind of feeling more fiery, feeling like he's a lion, he's a man, he can take care of business, he can take care of himself. He's a parent, he's an adult. And yeah, we went through some exercises. I did give him some physical support, whether it was hugging, holding his hand, some physical reassurance that he can do it, right, with some energetic uh, uh, signals and verbal signals, and looking him in the eyes, and asking him to look me in the eye, and lifting his chin, standing in a certain way. So there was all kinds of guidance that I was just ecstatic to be able to share with men at the retreat and support them and help them grow and help them realize and have realizations at the moment when they were most suggestible, when their minds and heart were more open for suggestions and feedback. And yeah, over a few days, I mean, they made amazing progress. And a few people mentioned there that part of the experiences that I went through were the best, most profound things that they've ever went through, and that's it's a hands down success for us. Yeah, they were giving us great feedback on the spot that what we're doing is very beneficial for them. It is done with professionalism and experience, and we were stoked to be able to deliver the experience. It was absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal.
What number retreat is this for you guys? It's like 5? 4?
4. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds like every time I talk to you after these weekends or events, they seem to get more and more refined, which is the undercover reason that I've waited so long. I was really waiting for you guys to perfect your craft.
Well, you're going to be joining the right timing and making, of course, the most of it. We did have a repeat in this retreat of one of the guys that showed up the second time. He is a very solid, bolder man, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, just an amazing, amazing man. That what was really cool in that retreat is that we voiced our intent to bring more people to the hosting team, right? So it's just Michael and I at the moment. So we voiced this intent, and he offered himself, and both Michael and I unanimously said, "This is the guy to join our team." So now we have a third person joining our team. So the next retreat, this person will be co-hosting with us, which is amazing to get his support. And he has, of course, his own personality and his own support. And it was pretty amazing that without even us announcing to the group then that he's joining us as part of the hosting team, one of the guys there asked for his help specifically to make a major move of him letting go of an addiction that he was working with, with a supplement for as a painkiller, and asked for his support to literally dump that, get rid of it, and not of me, not of Michael, just him, because this guy is just an amazing human. So that was also another huge progress of our of our mission. We just had somebody who asked to join our team, and it was such a synchronicity and a blessing. And we're going to be able to bring this experience to even more people, so be able to handle bigger groups. And yeah, so that's super exciting, and we're expecting to do the next retreat in about four, I don't know, maybe 5 6 months. Considering that a baby is joining our family very soon, and yeah, I mean, just super super stoked. I'm elated. I'm freaking elated about everything that has happened. Still thinking about it. Getting messages from the participants. Uh, a new dear friend of mine that was on the fence because of all kinds of situations that he's gone through, showed up as I've sent you images of him, and he made immense progress. Uh,
Yeah, I
from
want
being,
to talk to him.
absolutely,
Yeah, I'm
absolutely,
excited.
yeah, you got to talk to him. So, holy
Damn,
moly,
dude,
that was
that's
amazing.
crazy.
Yeah.
As you were talking, I was just thinking, you've been saying for years now, "Oh, I want to do these retreats. I'm trying to figure out what it looks like," and it's like it was like this big end goal. Um,
Yeah.
but you're doing it. This is what you are. You're doing it. Like you just made it happen. It's pretty cool, man. I'm happy for you.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, I it gave me the confidence to want to continue pursuing these retreats, and also the confidence to pursue another type of retreats that is will be similar, uh, but I think less emotionally intense, because these are for very courageous men, and I think there's some regularly courageous men that can be introduced to this work in a more less frightening way. These are 4 intense days, workshops and waking up every day at 5:45, 6 a.m. meditation, breath work, movement, opening up, really like opening up, being vulnerable. I mean, I think most men, including me, were weeping there. Freaking weeping there. Just I think I was weeping the day before the retreat because I've been doing so many things, for on so many aspects. Family wise, relationship wise, work wise, just preparing for the newest addition to the family, working harder than I usually do, just being kind of tired and also happy and just emotional. Um, so for example, I did one of the, like, I would say the more simple and joyful ceremonies that we do at the retreat, which I've done in Peru, that involves just shamanic tobacco, right? Just very, you remember the rapé, you get this tobacco going up to your nostrils. It's going into your sinuses. It cleans you up. It cleans up the system. It's anti-parasitic. It's antifungal. It feels
Are you doing the
really good.
same? That feels really good is an interesting way of putting that.
It feels really good after the process is done. To get it done, to go through the first couple minutes is very uncomfortable, which is why I've been having such a resistance to it, right? So me doing this, and I think I've only done it now for the third time in my life. I have skipped it in other retreats because of fear, fear of discomfort. And the man
Is
spoke to
Michael
me.
is Michael administering it the same way that David did down in Peru?
Yeah, he does, he does,
Okay,
and
okay.
he said that part of this ceremony, is about getting over fears. It's some of the men, most of the men did it 2 times. They had no fear about it, but to me, something going up my nose. It feels like kind of like wasabi, and just the whole process of somebody going like that, like kind of like with a freaking weapon towards my nose. It's uncomfortable. I mean, I've had huge resistance to it 4 years ago, and I still have resistance to it. And I did it to get over my fears mostly, and I did feel. I'm saying I did feel amazing because my throat was a little scratchy. I was not feeling that good a few days before. My sinuses were a little bit stuffy. It was an immediate release. Like within 5 minutes, I'm feeling, maybe within 10 minutes, I'm feeling fantastic.
Yeah, those first few minutes are a little. intense, but I do remember you did have some resistance around rape. Your like level of concern around rape was probably equivalent to my level of concern around ayahuasca. And the
Well,
rape didn't scare me as much, but it's funny.
hmm
It is very intense though. I mean, I could see why you would have that feeling.
yeah. I mean, it's the relationship I think I have with tobacco, which is so so simple for most people. They enjoy tobacco, uh, but I think it's because of my first experience with it, I got nauseous, and I didn't want to get nauseous. Um, I think for example, we went to this ayahuasca retreat 4 years ago. It's the only time that I've done ayahuasca in my life, and but I came to it with an open heart, open mind that this is what is going to help me progress, and with I would say some overconfidence too. Not much fear of changing my state of consciousness. So it was, yeah, it's all about the attitude there. It's it's definitely more uncomfortable to do ayahuasca than to do rapé. I mean, there's nothing to compare. But going into it, I have much more resistance with doing rapé than when I did ayahuasca. So I don't know. It's an interesting situation.
Yeah, yeah. I still have mine here. I haven't used it obviously since Peru.
Yeah,
I've
me
been
neither.
invited a couple of times, but
Yeah. So
it's whew,
so interestingly enough, one of the participants there told me about a doctor in Florida, and I forget his name. I think it's something Lawrence or Lawrence, and he makes this
John Lawrence.
Zen spray. Do you know
Yeah,
what's
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
it? So there's rapé, and I think like CBD, and he makes all these mixtures, and it's much easier, right? Because just kind of spray it up there and take a sniff.
I
But like,
think there's some ketamine in it too, dude.
whoa,
Oh, and
ketamine.
maybe that's a separate spray, but it's John Lawrence down in
Got it.
Florida. Yeah, I'll send you a couple of podcasts.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, this guy said he's going to send me some podcasts. He said that the rapé from him is very nice, and I've been hearing that people in Peru have been taking rapé is when they get COVID or something, when they get sick. It's just super therapeutic, and it does feel pretty good. I have to say, and I get why some people use tobacco for this head high or whatever is going on. There's a certain feeling. Um, for whatever reason. My constitution is not as excited about tobacco, but I think with this delivery method of using a nasal spray, I'll be more. I'll make more of. I'll be meeting this. What do we call this technology? Rape. What do we call this? Medicine. I'll be meeting
Medicine,
this
yeah.
medicine. I'll be meeting this medicine more frequently than once every 2 years or so. Which is probably what I've done. Yes, I bought it in Peru too. When we bought it at the market, I have not used it since. It's probably expired by now.
Does it
4 years
expire?
later, I think it loses potency, like a lot of herbs and such. Like
Oh,
even
yeah, yeah.
like your spices in the cabinet, whatever that might be. They lose potency over time. Usually, you want to keep spices for up to a year, and they're still usable, but they're not going to be as fresh, and they're not going to have that. They're just kind of dying. Um, yeah, so that's some of the things that went down, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was absolutely beautiful. I'm just ecstatic about how it went down. Absolutely ecstatic.
That's
Absolutely
great.
ecstatic.
I got the chance to talk to your daughter while you were gone, very briefly on the phone.
How was she?
She was great. She told me she wanted me to ask my parents if I could come to her house and go swimming.
Oh my god.
Uncle Geenie.
Uncle Guinea. It's so sweet.
She says after the mics leave.
My sleep. Yeah, she was hanging out with Mike yesterday, and she loves Mike, and the other Mike has left already. So
That's great,
yeah,
dude.
I've had a bunch of people stay with me in the month of July. Um, I think we're done hosting people until the
I
baby.
bet. Yeah, yeah. No, that's great, man. I wanted to share with you too really quickly. At the yoga studio here, there's a woman named Kristen, who's so I anytime she has a class on the schedule, I go, and not necessarily for the like the physical part of it, but her during shavasana at the beginning and the end, you could just tell this woman knows. I mean, I've been to a lot of classes with a lot of teachers. A lot of them are fantastic, but she is another level.
Hmm.
Has done a lot of work. She's probably in her. I don't want to age her right now. She looks really young, but I'm saying based on wisdom, she's got to be late 40s minimum.
Hmm.
Um, but she's like studied world religions like in her academic career. She's seems to be very aware, and everything she says is just like I'm like, damn, this lady knows what's going on. Um, and I was thinking during my last class with her, I was like, I got to see like if she can assume some sort of teaching role in my life. And I was
Hmm.
like, I don't know, that's kind of a weird thing to ask someone. And I was thinking about it, and then at the end of class, she goes, actually, we're doing a new teacher training here, and she's going to run it. And it covers not necessarily, Warrior Two and whatever the Western idea of yoga is, but it's like a very comprehensive rundown. It's a year long program, 1 weekend a month, 2 days, and it seems very very legit. And Kristen is super legit, so I'm excited about that. I'm gonna sign up for that. It starts in January. I think that'll be enough time between the birth of our son and being able to commit to something for 1 weekend a month here in town.
It's awesome.
Um, yeah, but really really excited about that. I mean, not that I want to be. I think it's more for personal reasons than anything. I told her that too after she mentioned it. I was like,
Hmm.
I don't think I want to. I have enough things, commitments, and
Hmm.
I don't know if I ever want to teach yoga classes, but yeah, something I got really excited about.
That's awesome. It sounds like you're doing this in the same way you've been going to concerts and to the river and comedy, and you're doing this because you want to do it for your own enjoyment. Period.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, she's like always talking about like different energy centers and the examples she's giving. They're very relatable to me in the way she puts it. And it seemed to I always have these like light bulb moments when I'm in her classes, and I thought, all right, for whatever reason, there seems to be some kind of a calling here. I'm gonna go for it.
It's fantastic. Speaking of energy centers, I got the BioWell device, which is an assessment device for organ function, energetic state, and the energy system. Uh,
Oh yeah, you have you used it yet?
and not yet. I got it right before I left for the retreat, so that same day that I left. So it's still in the box.
Yeah.
I am yet to open it, but I have orientation in 1 week from tomorrow. It's going to be two
Oh,
hours
that's right. That's
first.
right.
Then I'm going to have in a little bit in 2 months or so, maybe 3 months. I have my official training to become certified as a practitioner, and yeah, I mean until then, I'll get a good, I'll get some good practice with it. So I'm excited to do that. And as you're saying, I mean, energy centers are so interesting. It's something that I was poo pooing when I was a teenager and also in my 20s. And now I mean, it's a no brainer.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious to see how that all works. That's something I do want to do. I was actually looking into the guys at Wild Health. I think they use something like that in their as part of their diagnostic program, and one of them's actually based here. I think one's over by you. Maybe it's in South Carolina, and then the other one, or he's somewhere in the South,
Hmm.
and then one's in Bend. Um, I want to look into their program. And yeah, that's
Very
cool,
cool.
man.
Beautiful. What else has been
Uh,
going on since I've talked to you last?
uh, I mean, it's been probably 4 days.
At least
Yeah, since you left on Thursday. Did you leave Thursday?
I left on, yeah, I left on Friday, something, Friday early afternoon. But it's been a few days. How's your wife doing?
She's good, man. So this group we went to the concert with last night, it was 5 couples, 4 of which are pregnant.
Oh my God.
Dude, it's crazy. Everyone's having babies right now. everyone that I know.
Hmm.
Uh, I have another friend actually who just found out they're pregnant too. I'll tell you offline. I don't want to make any sort of announcement for them.
Is it
Um,
somebody that I know?
yes, it is.
Oh, very cool.
Um, and yeah, it's just I think that's a fun thing, to have people in your circle that are also going to be having kids your age. Um, a few of them are doing home births too,
Wow.
which is really cool. So Kelsey finds a little bit of comfort in knowing that other women are going to go through that too. There's actually we just had recommended to us last night a documentary called I think it's called like The Business of Birth. Have you heard of
Hmm.
it? Um, supposed to be really really good. So we're going to check that out. And then I know the holistic OBGYN
Really?
um was on Luke Story's show recently, and Kelsey has listened to every
Mm.
episode of his podcast. So
It's a fantastic podcast. One of my favorite ones ever.
yeah, who Luke?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, he's all over it. Uh, so I don't know. He's been putting a lot of baby stuff out there lately. I wonder what his agenda looks like.
Well, he said he's gonna have kids, so
Oh,
he's
did
planning
he?
on kids. Yeah.
That's
I'm
probably
assuming
what it is.
his wife is either pregnant or they're gonna get pregnant very soon.
And he just moved into his more permanent place. He's
Did
probably
he?
that's. I think so. I think he just moved in, right?
I haven't listened to of the last few, but he was talking about moving in soon. He said there's been like a 15-month renovation already at some point, and
Oh my goodness.
I'm sure he's going to be stoked. And yeah, that's probably going to be a home that he stays in for a long time.
Yeah, good for him.
That's so cool.
Yeah, check that episode out. I know that it can only I haven't heard it, but I know it's going to be really great because Luke's really great, and this guy's the holistic OBG guy has had fantastic content so far. Anyway,
Fantastic. Well, I'll have to get a link from you, and also the link about you said Dr. John Lawrence. Is that the Zen?
yeah. Also, I heard about him from Luke as well.
Yeah, I've heard it was on Luke that they have quite a relationship by now. Luke is crushing it, and
He really is.
I've learned so much from him. It's amazing. And I love his style. I love his his curiosity, his attitude. There are just endless things that I've learned from this man. Um, absolutely, absolutely. What would I say? Essential, and it was essential for my growth and my path to to listen to the information that he's been synthesizing and delivering his messages. Amazing, amazing man. I remember when we met him in person a few years ago in PaleoFX, and seems like a down to earth man and just awesome.
Yeah, he is. He's tall as hell too.
Yeah,
That was the first thing I noticed when I saw him. I was like, "Damn, man, you are tall."
he's a long man.
He's a long man. He's a good guy, and he always like anytime I send him an email, he like emails right back. He's a, really we have like a 40 40 message thread going. Just pick up right where we left off every couple of months or so.
That's great.
Yeah,
All
he's
right,
a good guy.
I know you have your booth probably coming up soon at your office space.
Yeah,
So let's wrap it up. Thank you for the time. Good seeing you. Good talking to you as always.
yeah. Same to you, man. I'm really happy for you. I could tell you're feeling good right now. It's probably nice to be back home too.
Yes, it is, and likewise to you. I'm happy to hear how things have been developing and you're enjoying life to a stronger intensity extent that is. And yeah, man, really good work. And yeah, I think we're gonna have some great times on the horizon with our families and men's retreat and everything else, hunting. Who
Oh
knows what
yeah.
else?
Um, yeah. Someone we were just talking about the hog hunting out in Texas. We got to talk about that too.
Absolutely,
Um, cool, man. Well, enjoy being back home. Enjoy being back with the little one. You're getting ready to be in the nesting phase here too, huh?
absolutely. I have a little renovation starting on Monday, as you might know.
I
Uh,
do know.
Renovating the room for the upcoming little sir that is joining, and Yeah, super exciting, super exciting.
Right on, brother. Well, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you soon. Ciao.
Thanks, everyone. Yep. Peace.
Peace, people.